Hello and welcome everybody to Ask Aviator episode number 10. 10 whole episodes in. This is an amazing time to be alive. My name is Eric Farewell with Aviator Paramotor, and today I've been joined by my very good friend Simon.
Hi.
How are you? You're from Arkansas.
I wish I was. I don't even know where Arkansas is.
Yeah, I actually believe that. It's about as well as I know where Nottingham is.
Okay.
But you are from Parajet.
I am, yeah.
And you have quite the legacy of adventure in your life, and we're going to talk some about that tonight. We're going to answer a whole bunch of questions. We're going to randomly look like straight ninjas, and we're going to try to hide the bourbon from the puppies because they like it too much. Tonight, by the way, huge thanks. I can't remember who gave this to me, but this is a Stillhouse. This is a black bourbon that's aged with coffee.
Okay.
So hopefully I'll stay awake for this whole show.
Is that the theory?
That's the goal.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
I'm not sure it quite works that way. Compensate with caffeine.
Exactly. Compensate with caffeine. Always
Closer
compensate.
Here, just a little closer
okay,
if you can. And then just try and keep this like around a fist from your face. So if it feels like your face is getting too close, it's perfect.
It's perfect. Yeah,
Perfect.
if you feel like you're eating the pop filter, it's a really good sign. So let's go really quick. I'm going to say hi to a whole bunch of folks who are watching. We had a great pre-show. I got to enjoy the pre-show as well. I want to point out that our compatriot John, who illustriously had 3 practice launches that were extremely successful. I want to point out that a great carpenter, as my father always said, always blames his tools.
Okay.
And I will own up to the fact that I failed 3 launches back to back to back. I actually got in the air the 3rd time. But I had a compression knot in my free ride, and I had to land 30 seconds later. This is during practice for Paradigm, by the way. So no shame, no cameras, no other great friends and pilots making fun of you. But it happens. It happens to us all. Fat Paramotor guy, great to see you. Anthony Vella, Hi,
Anthony. How are you?
Oh, dude, Anthony's the man. I just saw a video of him with a really sick haircut and the wind blowing in his face. And
it's his Game of Thrones episode.
It was pretty glorious,
We like
actually.
that, Anthony.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Nick Griffith, good to see you. Joel Cannon, I heard you're at MCO. I wish you were here, my friend. DP Works. Craig Taylor. Hello. Ron Saran's not here. Ripman Ryden, I do see Parker in there. CT Shoot Flyer. Starfighter 1. Neil Merchant. Eric Sheridan, good to see you. Karma PPG. Everybody, always a pleasure to see all of you guys. It's great to see the community coming together and being a part of this. Neil Merchant asked, what's the name of that bourbon again? I'm going to have to find the can. It comes in a can. I will. Oh, it's gone. He's gonna find it. It's in there. It's in a can. So it's pretty exciting stuff. Matthew Pesci, good to see you. Caleb Johnson, always a pleasure. To each and every one of you guys. Alan Klotz, hey Simon, when we start the Icarus X on Friday here in South Africa, the Adventurist naturally on my Parajet.
Hi Alan, very good to have you watching. Alan was with me when we did the Icarus Recce in South Africa.
So we're gonna talk about that a bit. Because this is actually what got you into the whole sport.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, so we have like a bajillion questions coming in. Quick shout out to Matteo Adrazzi. Matteo, it's great to see you. We've actually used your name in vain in a very positive way about 90 times a day, in a very negative way about 6. We miss you. We can't wait to have you here this week. Matteo is the champion of all things Viterazzi. He's the son of Vito.
Mr. Viterazzi.
He is Mr. Arazzi himself right now. Great to have you on the stream, buddy. We're going to have you here next week on Tuesday, so hopefully you'll join us for the live stream as well. It's going to be quite the week. I mean, we've got Endless Foot Drag, we got Bad Apples, we've got all sorts of stuff going on the next 10 days. Here's the bourbon. It's Stillhouse Black Bourbon.
Are you sure you don't use that to treat wood?
You could treat the wood. They actually it doubles as Marvel Mystery Oil, so you get that nice pepperminty flavor. Yeah. I'll repeat the same thing we talked about last week, which is that I've been very blessed to have students and friends and customers that will occasionally mail us or drop off a bottle of bourbon because I like trying new things. Last week was a rye from Pennsylvania. This week is this crazy stuff from Colorado.
That's wonderful packaging. I love it.
Dude, you should smell it. It smells like straight death. It's fantastic.
Looks like lighter fluid we have from Palm with PPG.
It does look like lighter fluid. All right. So, gentleman just said, I can't see his name. It's hiding. 1 second. We're catching up. Nina's moving stuff around. I love it. All right. So we had a question earlier from the gentleman asking who's going to Bad Apples. I don't know exactly who's going it. So Bad Apples is at the most incredible field, Hodges Field in South Georgia. I know for a fact that our chief instructor, Chris Garrison, will be there. He's going to be there not just with bells on. He's bringing, I think, 5 gliders to demo and the Eclipse Atom 80, which is that super lightweight unit that I guarantee you this gentleman doesn't want to talk about over here. because it comes from Fly Products, not Parajet. But let's dive into it really quick. From John Wallace, I know you have a shipping container and we want it. I'm trying to find someone who can deliver it. So if you have someone over there that can deliver it, that'd be amazing. We'll pay the cost. Been trying to find someone for the last week. Alex has been rocking it. Truly. JP Tulo, you're my hero too, buddy. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. All right, so let's get into it.
So, what do you want to know?
We have a bajillion questions coming in, but we're going to talk about you first because that's what I like to do. First off, who are you? How old are you? Where are you from? And why are you here?
Why am I here? So Simon Walker from Parajet, from Gilo Adventure Sports. So we are the consumer side of Gilo Industries, where we founded by Gilo Cardozo, who you need to have on this show.
I'm dying to have Gilo on. He was supposed to be here this week. Yes, but he's too busy hanging out with Bear Grylls or something.
Something like that. We had Bear down on Friday. So I'm from Shropshire in the UK, which is a small, really rural, landlocked county in the UK, and I'm relatively late to the PPG world. 51 years of age, spent my early days at sea rather than in the air.
Right.
But there's so many similarities, and I think that's why I love this sport so much.
Well, your pedigree is kind of ridiculous. So I'm going to summarize a bit. I'm going to pull some from an article that I was able to track down from you.
Oh, okay. That worries me.
Some of the things that Simon won't tell you offhand is kind of where he began. You've been the COO or CEO of multiple technology companies. You have developed different software technologies, different major breakthroughs. You've written a really impressive study on the Gen Wires. But really, I think your claim to fame in this group would be how many times you've been around the world in a sailboat?
So I've been raced twice around the world.
Raced twice around the world.
Yeah.
And what'd you place?
Last time second.
Second place. I read the article about that journey.
Yeah. Okay.
Now you didn't
the Fast Company one.
Yeah, the Fast
okay,
Company
right,
one.
okay,
So if you
cool.
guys look up Fast Company and type in Simon Walker, it's a great article about leadership, what it means to be a leader, and what takeaways a business leader can use for really understanding the needs of their employees, the needs of their teammates, the needs of their crew, and how oftentimes crew members will self-efface to try not to have too much responsibility because they don't. Even though they claim to want it, they don't. And I thought it was a brilliant article. It was really well written. And it was written by your competitor, wasn't it?
It was contributed by one of my competitors, so a guy called Mike Golding, who actually came first in the race.
Right. I think he was scared of you.
Well, it's a really interesting story because, one of the big lessons about leadership that I learned was you can look up to other leaders, but they're them and you're you. And if you try and do it the way they do it, you're probably going to fail. You need to find the way that's going to work for you. And so, after during that particular race, we were incredibly competitive guys. He had a very task orientated, very sort of focused sort of way of doing things. I was much more inclusive and collegiate. I looked at him and wished I was much more on it and crack the whip, but he looked at me and wished that he was more collegiate. And after the race, we had a few drinks and we played every last sort of twist and turn. We sort of realised that if I'd done that, it wouldn't have worked because my personality didn't suit him. So it was, as you say, Eric, it was a fantastic sort of grounding in people and performance and learn about yourself. And I think you can apply those lessons to flying, to business, to any field of life.
Well, and I think a big part of my takeaway was really learning to trust your strengths and not to try to become what you're not. And I see it so frequently, both with team members that we've had that have left, with business partnerships in the past, with our students, where you see students come in and they. We had a student last class, Caleb, 104 flights in 8 days or whatever it was, 2 weeks. Kid crushed it. In the same class, there were guys who had 15, right? And if they tried to be him, they would have broken equipment. They would have pushed themselves too hard. They would have done too much. Truly owning who you are and growing in that is I think it's part of why I love to fly so much, because it forces you to really be introspective and recognize your strengths, your weaknesses. I know for a fact I can do 5 failed launches in a day, or as my dad and John call them, successful practice launches. And I can do that, but But if I do a sixth, I'm bound to break equipment.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? I stop. I'm done.
Yeah.
I have my number and I'm done. Right? I think it's a big deal.
Yeah, and that self-awareness, that realization of state and self-talk. So as I say, I came to PPG pretty late, but the whole sort of the emotions. It was great being out on the field with your students this morning because I don't often have that blessing to go out with people and see their enthusiasm, but also see that sort of emotional cycle that people go and that sort of frustration they go through.
It's a lot of work.
But realizing that actually it's okay, and you just pick yourself up and you have a tumble and you control your state and you'll be fine. But it's a lesson that we learn as humans the hard way, often in different fields of life.
Absolutely. And so, first off, John, can you hear him okay? Good. All right.
You good, John? Yeah.
Everybody else in the chat, can you guys hear Simon okay? Because if not, I'll start talking really quietly, and that'll be really bizarre, but I'll do it for you. Your path to get to paramotoring, Simon, has been really interesting because you left the tech world behind. You did the big things over and over again, and then you joined a team of people that are. When I first met you, you weren't working with Parajet. Okay,
right.
You were working with a different company, and
I still work with them.
Yeah, I know you do.
Yeah.
And we had a very frank conversation where I told you that I thought they had the dumbest business plan I could ever make sense of because nothing made sense financially. And I was like, it's really cool what they do, but it doesn't make sense financially. How do they pay for it? And you said, television. And I said, okay, that's cool. That makes sense. But it was never one of the stated goals publicly. And what I discovered was that their real focus was not money. Their real focus is creating a sense of adventure and creating a sense of overcoming something ridiculous, like driving a tuk-tuk across India.
Yeah. So you're talking about the adventurous.
I am.
You're
Tell us your story. Tell us how you got there and what brought you here.
So as you know, as a professional sailor, all of my 20s, so these 2 around-the-world races, multiple times across the Atlantic, the Arctic, Antarctic, also really, 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 really cool stuff. But I moved into the management of races, and I ended up as chief executive of Sir Che Blive's business, where we organised 2 more round the world races, an Atlantic rowing race, and so we were in the
an Atlantic rowing race.
Yeah, so we created.
That sounds dumb.
Yeah, it was an amazing idea. Not my idea, I have to say, but it's an amazing idea where we designed a flat pack, laser cut plywood, 22-foot rowing boat, 2-man rowing boat that we could ship out to people, and they could click it all together. They could use stitch and glue, glass fiber tape, like you make a sort of an old-fashioned sailing dinghy, paint it all up and ship it out in a 40-foot container to the Canary Islands. And then we had, I think it was 112 on the first race, would row across the Atlantic to Barbados.
Wow.
Yeah, and so anyway, so that was one of the projects. So we did all these cool crazy projects, and at the time there was we had a media intern who it was his first job, and a couple of years later he came to me and said, "Hey, I'm working with this amazing guy, Tom Morgan, who's the founder of the Adventurous.
Right.
He's just driven a car with a couple of friends in a couple of other cars from London to Ulaanbaatar, 10,000 kilometers, basically, through Europe."
Was it a taxi?
This was I think it was in a Nissan Micra or one of
these. Oh my lord!
Of
course he was.
1,000cc tiny little car. And he's done it again this year, and now there's 30 odd cars, and they're going to do it again. There's going to be 100+ cars, but we're trying to charge some money, and we're trying to make this pay, and they're losing money hand over fist. Can you help us? So basically, I just wanted to help.
Bring the business mind in.
I just wanted to help some young people do something that was really, really cool, and that was, I don't know, I guess 12 years ago, and so it was just an informal. I've got a bit more grey hair or less grey hair than they have, and just helped along the way. And that business grew, and so as you mentioned earlier, that the whole philosophy of the business is to make the world smaller, make it less boring, get people to interact with amazing people all over the world. So we try and do journeys that are usually in challenging journeys, but in relatively unsuitable vehicles, so that you do break down and you do have to ask for help. And what you find is you go to, say in the rally, you're going through, Kazakhstan and Iran and all these countries where you see bad things in the news, but you run out of fuel and need some help.
And they're still humans.
The local people help you, and they haven't got very little, and they're going to share half of it with you. So that was the whole philosophy. And so we moved into the rickshaw racing. We've got this amazing. Tom had this brilliant idea to recreate Genghis Khan's postal service across the Mongolian steppe, and that's now become the Mongol Derby, where 40-odd riders ride 1,400 horses that we have to organise with 500 people.
Oh my God!
Where the riders go non-stop, like the postal, like the what was the American Pony Post or
the Pony Express?
Pony Express. Same idea, but with Genghis Khan hundreds of years before. And they go from Urtu to Urtu 25 miles at a time, where the horses are then checked out by a vet to make sure they're okay, but the rider has to ditch that horse and get on the next one.
Wow.
And go on. So we do all these amazing things. And about 5 years ago, Tom came to me and said, "Hey, look, there's these amazing things, paramotors. It completely accessible. Fits in the back of your car. You don't need, in most countries, you don't need any licensing. You can learn in a week and 10 days or whatever it takes. We got to do this." So Tom created the Icarus Trophy. So the first one was on the west coast of the States, from Washington State down to
Las Vegas,
Northern California.
Oh yeah, the Icarus X, the first one. Yeah.
And so we wanted to sort of learn about these things, and so we got a few sort of taster training sessions in Europe
with Parajet.
It wasn't with Parajet. It was
you had Parajets anyway.
We had Parajet. We were flying Parajets, and I just got involved in this. And it was just fantastic because it reminded me of what it was like when I learned to sail. So I was really rubbish and I was out of my depth, but it had the weather, it had technical elements, it had navigation, it had stuff to do with me, so you talked about learn about yourself and all this kind of stuff, and I just absolutely loved it. And as this stuff gets completely under your skin, it becomes you. You dream about it, you wonder, you have to hide the packages that come in the mail from your wife because there's constantly the stuff's coming in and you need the next thing. And so for the last 3 or 4 years, I've been on this journey of trying to be a better pilot. I've been lucky enough to fly, with the Adventurous in around in various places around the world, from Vic Falls in Zimbabwe. We did the Icarus Recce for Africa last year with Alan and the crew, and Nick Petropolis from Parajet Africa, awesome Nick, hope you're watching this, it's just absolutely fantastic. And I had this opportunity to get involved with Gilo and his team, and I wasn't really expecting to do it as I am doing full time.
What's your official title?
So my official title is I am Managing Director of Gilo Adventure Sports,
which is Mako Board Sports and Parajet.
Which is Mako Board Sports. It's Parajet, and it's also the Explorer flying car.
So we should probably talk more about the Explorer flying car, but not on this episode.
Okay, another time.
We're going to talk about the flying car when you bring it here, and you let me drive it.
Okay.
Deal?
That's a deal.
Yes.
I had a drive in it last week. Scared me to death. Unbelievably powerful. Unbelievable acceleration.
So I used to race cars, and I've raced motorcycles, and I have a deep passion for anything that goes vroom. So I'm really excited about it. I got to sit in one of the prototypes, actually 2 of the prototypes.
Yeah, I've got the picture.
Yeah, and I got to sit in some other prototypes that we can't talk about, but I will say they made my bits tingle.
Don't want to know.
What you guys are doing at Gilo Industries, and it's particularly Gilo Adventure Sports, is truly revolutionary. And one of the things I love is that Gilo is a lot like I am as far as personality goes. I would like to think we're a little bit scattered. He's very brilliant. I don't know that I would say I am, but he is very brilliant.
Absolutely, yeah. Amazing guy.
And he has done an incredible job of attracting incredible people. And he recognized quickly your value of turning the business that he had into a incredible business and bringing the right people on board is everything. I mean, our team behind the camera is a perfect example of just brilliant people who do great work. And I think that that's really a special thing. So I'm glad that you're there.
Thank you.
You know, you and I spent the last 2 days talking about systems and world domination and the things that are important when you're in business, to have a goal, to have a mission, to have something you're working toward. And I'm so impressed by how you lead your team. I really am.
Thank you. I'm equally impressed by, as you say, the great people behind the camera. You know, your guys are truly awesome.
And everyone up at the Red Barn too. They're pretty cool, I guess.
Yeah, they're okay. But
they're incredible.
Everybody I've met here have been fantastic, and I just love the attitude and the spirit, and yeah.
I loved your reaction this morning. So I came in this morning about 8:50, and I always go to the Red Barn any day that there's flying, and I go down just to hang out with the students and see how their day has been. And we're all coming back from a long cross country, which you got to fly on with them, and they were glowing, like positively glowing. And I had a long talk with one of the students, Rob, who had some issues. He had two or three inflations that didn't come up properly, and then he finally got in the air, no wind. And Rob was just triumphant. You know, it was really cool to see. And then to see your reaction about being with the students. Because at Parajet, you guys aren't a school right now. You have a school coming up. You have a little school coming up this summer, which is exciting.
Pop-up, yeah.
Yeah, so if you're in the UK or if you're anywhere in Europe and you want to go to a pop-up school with some great instructors and great strategies, I truly believe in what they're doing. They've got some great ideas. You have class availability in June and July?
Very late June, early July, yeah.
Yeah, so
July.
Contact Parajet.com. Go check them out, because that's a great opportunity for someone in the UK. They might be able to get a really great, training with some really cool people. I mean, Bear freaking Grylls flies with them, or whatever. That's no big deal. But it's a good opportunity for people. So you got to be on the field today, and we talked a lot yesterday about the higher calling, the bigger reason for why we do this. It's clearly not for the money. It's clearly not for the hours.
Yeah.
It's clearly not for a lot of the things that people have the expectation of when you go into a business. You could make a lot more money in the tech sector. But what was your experience today on the field?
It was really just the empathy and for the sort of emotions you talked about. The guy with these launches and this the sort of the reward for the perseverance and caring instruction. With people who really wanted these people to succeed, and they, the guys you had on the field were absolutely fantastic at managing people's, state and their, because they're frustrated with themselves because
always
this sport attracts people who they really want it, and they've probably been really successful in other things they do in their lives.
Oh yeah,
and as I know, as the journey I've been, just sometimes it just doesn't. It's not your day. Doesn't work.
Right.
You can't see it. And it was just really wonderful to see these people. We were doing, as you said, nil win launches.
It's almost like the wind's coming from above, pushing down.
Yeah. It's the hard. It's the hardest thing we do as paramotorists. It is the hardest thing, and these people, needing picking up and being picked up, and then this elation and doing a really great job of getting airborne, coming off, brilliant landings, and it was just the spirit was just fantastic. I didn't need to be in the air. I was getting the pleasure just by watching these guys. It's fantastic. Yeah,
and it really does make a difference. And one of the things I love is your comment about the team being there, being the right people. It's funny because this show started in probably episode 3 or so. We had a guy named AJ on the show, and AJ was a professional drone racer coming here for training after a year of waiting. And he's been on ESPN for years. This guy's talented, right? What people have seen now through this 4th episode on the show is AJ trained with us in March, came back 2 weeks later, and helped train with as an intern instructor.
Okay.
And he hasn't left. I don't see him leaving anytime soon. He's actually going home to Texas tomorrow, but just for a few days to pack up all of his things out of his house to move here.
Okay.
And what's incredible is the gentleman who was having struggles today, out of the 7 instructors on the field, Chris, our school manager, said, hey, who do you want to work with? And he goes, I want to work with AJ.
Okay, brilliant.
And I love it
Love it.
because
Yeah.
you don't have to be the most experienced pilot as long as you have good oversight. You know, Chris is incredibly talented. Been teaching people to fly ultralight since 2002 or 2001. Great pilot, great instructor. As long as you have good oversight and Chris is standing there ready to help if there's anything goes wrong, find the instructor you connect with best, the person you trust with your life, and work with them. And I was so proud of AJ for being that guy. It's like one of our other instructors, Fletch, who you met from Nottingham. Fletch is, he's a young pilot as well. He's been flying for almost a year. And Fletch, 3 months ago, people were saying, hey, I can't learn to kite very well with him because he talks like this and it's a little bit different with the accent. And then our last 2 classes ago, unanimously voted the best kiting instructor we have. Over me! Which is so cool! I love it! It makes me so proud. Like, seriously, it makes me so proud. It's like, dude, these people, these incredible men and women learn how to teach, and they learn how to empathize, they learn how to share their knowledge in such a great way. It's really, really cool.
I couldn't agree more. And I think I told you this story earlier about when I was sailing professionally, we... as incredibly experienced yachtsmen, we were going to be taking less experienced people sailing, and we were going to have to teach them and give them reassurance in really hairy conditions.
Right.
And the guys who were trying to prepare us for this, they gave us all helicopter flying lessons.
I love this story. This is a great story.
It basically what if you've ever flown I know you've flown a helicopter, you don't have to you don't move anything, you just think about moving anything.
If you think about moving the stick, all of a sudden you're moving.
You're all over the place. And it was just this fantastic lesson of remember what it was like when you didn't know what to do.
Right.
Okay, and what is the tone and the messages and the empathy you need to do that. And some people have got that.
Right.
And they don't necessarily need to be the most experienced people, but they have that empathy and they care and they have those communication skills and they explain it one way and they can see in your eyes that you haven't quite got it.
Yeah.
And they're smart enough to say, let me show you something else. Okay, and those are the sort of people, and I saw a lot of the guys, you're brilliant guys. I saw a lot of that on the field today, and I love all that stuff.
It's how we grow. It's like one of the biggest core values we share in our business is that every employee has to have empathy. If we don't care about the people that we're serving as much as we care about ourselves or more, we're in trouble. It's never going to end well.
Yeah.
So, all right, we're going to jump into some questions because we have a ton. Quick hellos to a lot of people. Roberto, I did talk to Simon about your issue in Honduras. We'll talk to you more. Rogerio, hello from Brazil. Hello to Brazil, my friend. Tudo bem? Fat Paramotor guy, always good to see you, buddy. And Jeff Stang. Jeff, dude, awesome to have you here. I'm a little bit sad you're not in the room right now, and I'm really sad you didn't eat steak with us last night. Thank you for chatting earlier. Bradleyus Maximus, good to see you again. Bob Garber, good to see you. Kevin Sluds. Parker, awesome. Starfighter. I already said hi to most of these people. This is awesome. Let's see. We have a few big questions to talk about. One of them was from Fat Paramotor Guy, and he wants to ask Simon, what do you think about parajets for fat guys?
What do I think about parajets for fat guys?
Now, I'm talking about American-sized, and in this case, Australian-sized fat guys.
Okay, so what do you mean by fat guys? What's the... What you have to talk in kilos?
All right, so Fat Paramotor Guy, in stones, let's talk about how big
stones.
you are. You can't do stones?
I can't do stones. We use kilos.
You're from England. You're supposed to do nothing but stones.
We moved into the 21st century some time ago. Yeah.
All right, so stone, by the way, is apparently not relevant anymore, but that's okay. Eric Murkow, good to see you again.
Do you not have stone here?
We don't have stone. We have pounds.
Okay.
We have inches. We have feet. We basically have freedom units. We have the things that get us to the moon.
Okay.
And that's all we have because they make no logical sense. And kilograms and meters make so much more sense for everything else. Celsius makes so much more sense. But apparently you have to use Fahrenheit. You have to use pounds. And that gets you to the moon. It's the only thing we've done with them that's actually worth anything talking about, aside from maybe the George Washington Bridge. But... seriously, I wish we'd get a metric. Oh, my God. 143 kilograms.
143 kilograms. That's not that big.
How tall are you?
Yeah, that's
not in meters because I can't read meters.
That's a good question. That's a good question.
So,
let's go
ahead and talk about what you do.
I mean, the right wing with the Monster 185, no problem at all.
He's only 1 meter tall.
Okay, That's a very strange shape. That's a very strange shape.
I'm kidding. He's not wanting me to tell.
He's just very dense.
He is dense.
Yeah,
So
Black
our
hole.
experience has been with the bigger guys. So the issue has always, and we had this issue with Air Conception. We've had this issue with Nirvana. We had this issue with everything I've ever sold. All right, everything I've ever flown. It's the spacing between the swing arms. Right. If you have to squeeze and have your ribs be pressed by the swing arms, you're going to have a less comfortable ride. Some units, for instance, for us, the Fly Products Rider that you see way back there in the back, that has wider spacing, and it's not a lot wider. It's maybe 2 inches wider, and it makes a big difference for bigger pilots. John is 270 pounds in the back. You're flying the Parajet Maverick with no issues.
Yeah.
Alex, you're 240? 210? I'm such a dick. Okay, just kidding. But he's flying the Maverick as well. So, it's really, it's doable. In our experience in the school, for personal comfort, I just say try them all on. It's the same thing as picking an instructor. You don't want to pick an instructor you haven't gotten to know and see if they're the right person for you. You want to pick someone that fits you. So try the motors. He's 184 meters tall. 184 centimeters tall.
Okay, so that's 6'1".
6'1". So
Yeah.
6'1", 140. So that's like 300.
Yeah.
What is it? Was that 140? Is it 300 pounds?
2.2. You're asking me?
I don't know.
I can't do that math.
It's 2.208.
We need
I
the
think.
L's behind us to do the maths for us.
All right, so we have a lot of questions I'm going to answer for you guys. We're
Oh,
going to the
live
conversion
conversion.
table,
Yeah,
guys.
look at this. Okay.
2.204.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so yeah, it's all right. That's reasonable. Yeah, dude, you'd fit just fine in any of the Parajets. And honestly, like, I've seen one of your videos about a competing brand. I would highly encourage you to look at the Volution 3. The Volution. All right. Excuse my cough tonight. I've seen a lot of paramotors out there. I've been in the sport for 7 years. Right when the macro and the micro came out was when I got into the sport. At the time, I was flying a motor that was modeled after the mini plane, and it was not the highest construction quality. And then I saw my first macro and micro with the guys from Midwest at a fly-in in Illinois, and I fell in love.
They're works of art.
They truly are. Like,
Truly
I wish
works of art.
we don't have it up here today. We have the Maverick up here today because this is our best seller.
I saw the V3 in
my
the
God, that-
actions, and they're just beautiful, sculptural, organic, absolutely fantastic.
So how many hours does it take to make one?
I don't actually know. I should know that, shouldn't I? It's a great question.
For your
I will,
job
I will
title.
find out
Yeah.
for you, and I will mail it in for a future episode. How's that sound?
My recollection was it was around 3 days of welding alone.
Yeah, I can believe that. I can
And that was
believe
Gilo talking really
Yeah,
fast, and,
yeah.
and there was a lot of Tom
Yeah,
in the room, so
yeah.
there was probably whiskey
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
But it was very much an incredible statement of Parajet's belief in quality. The fact that you guys don't outsource the welding.
Yeah.
You don't allow anyone else to touch it except for these two guys who take a round tube, cut it, bend it, make it an aerodynamic shape,
Yeah.
weld it, sand the weld, grind it.
Apparently that's called linishing. I've learnt that since I've been in
See, we've learned things.
fabrication.
I'm learning things
I didn't
too.
know that. I
Linishing.
call it sanding, but if
Yeah.
it's metal, it's linishing.
All right, so he's
Okay, you'll be
linishing the
proud-
heck out of this.
You'll be proud of me, Fab team.
And honestly, the workmanship on that.
Okay, right.
It's insane.
Alan is asking about my Volution 3 in Botswana. So, Volution 3 is an incredibly strong paramotor. If you're a really poor pilot at high altitude and lots of heat, and you hit the road in Botswana, you can break them.
So how did you break it?
Well, it's an interesting story because it does. We talk about learning lessons from the past, from our previous lives, and I didn't learn any of the lessons. So we flew into Johannesburg, unpacked our equipment, put it on a truck, and our good friend Herman drove the equipment for 2 days through the whole length of Botswana into Zimbabwe, and we flew up by airplane. So I hadn't done any test flights. I hadn't done anything. So
What's the altitude there?
The altitude is about well, in Zimbabwe it's about 4,000 feet. I think Botswana is sort of 3,000 feet. So it's not silly high, but it's high when it's hot, right? It's okay. And we're carrying lots of fuel. We've got fuel
Lots
on
of
bladders.
fuel. Yep.
We've got survival equipment. I had a machete, tied to the frame, because other than the roads, the bush is really, really dense, and if you have an engine out and you're in the bush, you've got to cut your way out.
You do know that a machete is not going to do anything against an elephant, right?
Yeah, you're not gonna do that. But anyway, I have to say, to my shame, I just couldn't get off the ground. It was hot and it was nil wind, and I just couldn't get off the ground. I had about 3 failed launches, and I'm all sweaty and I'm all horrible. And my, Nick, who runs Parajet Africa, he's a superb pilot. He flies a Learjet for a living. Yeah, superb pilot. He's flying around, and I can hear on the radio they're talking about the giraffes and the elephants, all this great stuff. And my great mate Pete Stockton, hi Pete, he's having his great time. And I couldn't get off the ground, so eventually I take off, and I do 5 minutes because it's now getting to sunset.
Right.
And I come great spot landing, perfectly right in front of them, and I come in and I go stoof and hit the deck, and then in this big pile of African, orange earth, you could see me on the deck then flare when I'm already on the deck. So that didn't damage the frame. That was just day one.
That part was fine.
So on day two, I'm kind of, it's not my confidence. I haven't actually, I had not landed on my feet for hundreds of flights, and we go off the next day. It's still tricky. I have an engine out over the Zambezi River because of another story. It gets really thermal really quickly, so it's 10 o'clock. We're bouncing all over the place, and the only place we can land is on the highway that goes from the Congo all the way down to South Africa.
Is it a busy highway?
No, I mean there's kind of there's a truck every 10 minutes. So when
that's reasonable.
Your landing procedure is you basically fly up and down the highway and see that there isn't a vehicle. But it was crosswind, and I bailed it, and I tumbled, and it was embarrassing.
You actually broke the V3.
So the rest of the trip it was duct tape and zip ties.
It was the V3.1.
It was the V3. It was modified. So thank you, Alan, for reminding me of that story.
So my first experience with the Parajet that I ever flew, I was in instructor training with Chris Hanacroce in Salt Lake City, Utah. I've never flown high altitude paramotors ever. Flown airplanes high altitude, but never flown paramotor high altitude. It had a Moster 185 that was running really poorly. It was an early Moster 185, no clutch. He had a tuning fork on it that you could tune in the air because he was trying to make it run right. And it ran really poorly. But I took off, and I climbed to about 1,000 feet. And I turned the motor off. It was midday, and I flew 4 miles or so to the south side of the mountain, the point of the mountain, which is an incredible soaring site. And I spent the next 3 hours
having a great time
soaring.
Yeah.
This Moster. I was flying an Advance Alpha 5, which is a beginner paragliding glider. And I just soared it, and I flew in, and you could see every one of the points just like, no, motor's a lot. But my motor was off, so they didn't care. It was me and a few Speedwing guys and a couple hang gliders, and I had the most fun ever flying that. And I top landed. Incredible experience. And it sold me on the Moster the Parajet chassis, because what I'd been used to flying had high hang points. Then I flew some low hang points. Then I flew high hang points again. This is 6 years ago. And going from a free flight harness where everything's at your hips, right, to this where they're elevated, but it still moved. It moved like a free flight chassis. It felt effortless to carve and play. And it was blowing 17, 18 miles an hour. It was very windy. I was flying a 21 or 23 meter glider. And it was effortless. It was a blast. It was seriously, seriously fun. And so that was my first experience as a V3. And even though I tried really hard, I didn't break it. There was no duct tape involved.
Okay. You're a better pilot than I am.
No. I was at that point. I certainly was not a better pilot than you were. But I did fly in really good conditions, and I got really lucky. I'd been flying for like a year and a half. I was not a better pilot, I'll guarantee it. All right, let's look at some questions. We've got Sandor, who sent us an email. Guys, always remember, you can always email info@aviatorpbg.com anytime throughout the week with your Paramotor, Ask Aviator, Tech Talk questions. We'll get all of those to you. We currently have 23 minutes left until our Tech Talk 10 minutes begins with Alex Montanes. He's going to share some stuff about your tech-related questions. For newbies, it's been recommended to purchase the same wing you plan on flying to practice kiting. If you are still a year away from purchasing your motor and you get a lot of kiting practice during that year, how much wear can you expect on your wing, and how much life would the wing have remaining once you have your motor. Sorry, it's tough to read in this font size. Also, is there a way to prolong the life of your wing? I'll answer this one quickly. The biggest key with your glider is the surfaces you kite on and how much sun exposure. So if you kite at sunrise and sunset, you don't get that much UV. It's honestly not a big deal, all right? Like, it's really not a big deal. We have seen gliders. We've had gliders, personal gliders, that have had over 300-400 hours. They're still checking out as new in their inspections. So, in my opinion, choose to keep it sunrise, sunset, or late in the day where you don't have much UV, and do it on grass.
On grass.
You'll be golden. Yeah. Grass is everything. If you're on sand, I mean, we have that school in Costa Rica.
It's like sandpaper.
It's like sandpaper.
Yeah.
The school in Costa Rica, Paracosta, their wings, after 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, they're like a wing that we'd had for 10 years. Excuse me. Paramotor pilots have been known to get highly emotional when experiencing their first flight. Have you ever had a pilot that was so emotionally overwhelmed during their first flight that you were concerned about their safety during landing? Aside from John, no, I'm just kidding. And Simon on the road. Was that an emotional thing, you think?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
No, we have. We've had students who get extremely emotional. We had a gentleman who he landed and he was white as a sheet and he just said, "Hold me." And I gave him a hug and I held him up and he cried and he was happy, and then he flew and he's still flying to this day. Great guy. And he had a very big emotional and mental moment while he was flying. That's one of the reasons why we tow, to ensure that we can try to encourage safety.
We were talking about this earlier, and just a sort of progressive, the progressive sort of nature of the way, you guys train and the good trainers train, where every day it's another element of complexity,
but nothing too overwhelming.
Nothing too overwhelming, but knowledge dispels fear, and so when so one of the lessons I learned from the yachting was that you talk through every scenario, and you're trying to imagine every scenario, and it's what emergency services people do. They either build it up from experience or they're trained to do that, and so when the worst happens, they have these things that normal people would find shocking, and let's face it, we weren't born with wings, so suddenly finding yourself in the air is shocking to
you're
a
doing
normal,
something
is a normal,
superhuman
because you've been through these stages, because you've been towing, or we were talking earlier, you don't have any hills here, but in the UK we have small hills that people go up and they do some bunny hops, we call them, so that just to learn what it's like to be 10 feet in the air and realize that how much you pull on the flare and what time you do that, and it's okay. And that's all these little things matter, and they sort of control that emotion. There's a theme of this, isn't it? Emotion. This whole podcast is what we're talking about.
It sounds silly, but the reality is what we're doing is creating a huge emotions in all of us. All right, so each week we try to do something. This is new as of 2 weeks ago. Last week we sold windsocks, and we had a fun experience because Jeff, one of our students in the class, or in that class that week, which just basically is finished this week, he agreed to buy anyone who bought a windsock one of the Livestream T-shirts. We agreed to donate a windsock to Resurgence PPG. This week we have something a little bit different because we want to make it dirt cheap for those people who don't want to spend lots of money on things. I was going to do the Virus ATL lamels because we have a whole bunch on the shelf that just arrived. So if you want lamels, cool, I'll throw in all of these things. But if you feel like looking like a straight-up ninja, I guarantee you this is the best way.
Don't go to a bank like that, will you?
Well, you could do it once.
Yeah.
I actually had these made. I had these made before Beach Blast 2 years ago. Or a year ago? Yeah, 2 years ago. This is a balaclava. This is designed to keep the sun off of you. You can soak this in ice cold water, keeps the heat off you. I wear these when I train. I used to wear them every day when I was on the field all day long because it keeps the sunburn away. So these are in the store at shop.aviatorppg.com. We'll make a donation to Resurgence for these. If you guys buy these tonight, we want to bless and help out Resurgence. In addition, I'm going to give away 5 of these on the live stream tonight. So if you guys would like to have one for free, share the live stream with your Facebook friends, your Twitter friends, your Instagram friends. Let people know that this is going on because we want to answer lots of questions, get lots of people excited about the sport. The whole goal of this is to better educate people who already know about the sport and to inspire people who may have never seen paramotors before. And they see this one right here as their very first one, which you got to fly yesterday. You'd never flown the Atom.
Yeah, no, fantastic. It's so smooth. It's fantastic.
So quiet.
So quiet. It's so smooth. I was having to get used to having a left-hand throttle. I normally fly with the right hand. So
You drive on the wrong side of the road too.
yeah, I know. It's okay. It's okay. Well, you soon get used to it. Yeah.
So, guys, check these out in the store. If you click on accessories, they're about halfway down the page, I believe. I think they're $5. I don't remember how much they cost. They're $5. So buy some. We'll make an addition to Resurgence. We want to support them every way we can. We also have our blue hats. There's light blue, dark blue. Check them out. We will be happy to do something to bless you guys, whether it's stickers or something else. We want to bless you guys for being here and watching the show live or listening to it later. Thank you very much. Mr. Blue Moon Halo, what is the radar cross-section of a paramotor in flight?
That's a question I don't know.
It's apparently a lot like a flock of birds.
Okay.
That's what my radar control friends have said. They say that it looks a lot like a flock of birds. I'm surprised you don't know that. I figured you've been like infiltrating military bases.
I wish we have a lot of airspace around us, but no, I don't actually know. It's a great question.
All right.
We should find out. We should do some experiments.
We'll do some experiments.
Yeah.
Patrick Bell asked, "Does Parajet deliver? I don't believe they have a dealer in Ireland."
Yeah, we definitely do deliver, and you mean ship to people, but I think we have got a dealer in Ireland. If you go to parajet.com and you look for dealer locator, you'll be able to see all the dealers there. If not, if you approach parajet.com in the UK and you talk to Tom and Laura and the team there, they will sort you out, Patrick.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And honestly, guys, you'll be in great hands. No matter where in the world you are, we can't recommend Parajet enough. They have such attention to detail and to customer service. You'll be truly blown away.
Well, you talked about your team, Eric. The team back at Parajet are just fantastic. So Tom and the team, they've been doing it a long time. They care. They're all pilots. We've got incredible bunch of people there, and I'm very, very proud of them.
So let's talk really quickly about something that is near and dear to my heart, because everyone who comes to work at Aviator has the opportunity to learn how to fly.
Okay.
And like folks like Catherine, she learned to fly in 8 days after she got to work here. Her first day of work, 8 days later, she's flying. Tell me about the Parajet Fly to Work program.
So this has been going for a few years now. Giant Adventure Sports, so Parajet, we are one part of the Giant Industries group. So across the group, where there are probably 60 plus engineers across the Rotron and Skybike are our other divisions, and we just want to get people in the air. So we support any employee to get equipment through salary sacrifice. So they pay so much per. They obviously get special rates. And they get.
I've seen the rates; they're amazing. I want those rates.
They get special rates, but more importantly, they take it. It gets taken out of the salary a little bit at a time. And so you mentioned our pop-up school. So the main reason we've got a pop-up school this summer is so that we can train our staff and train some train some partners and some celebrities and all sorts of things that we're trying to do just for this short period. So we want to get people to fly, and so we have the Fly to Work scheme. And when in the summer months, quite a lot of people, they literally take off from a field near their house and they fly into work, and you see them all buzzing in, and at the end of the day, they're revving their engines up and taking off again. We're blessed by having a little sort of takeoff area, and it's pretty cool.
So I'm trying to come back to Parajet at the end of August.
Yeah, very welcome.
Before Vittorozzi days, because I want to fly to work.
Okay.
I'm gonna come stay with you.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. So from my house, it's 80K.
Perfect.
It's 80K.
That's like 5 miles, right?
No. So it's there's a bit of airspace. We've got to wiggle a little bit around Southampton airspace and under Salisbury, where the Novichok poisoning was, and fly into Parajet. It's about an hour and 20 minutes, depending on the wind. But it's it's cool.
I'd love to do. I seriously, when I heard about this, we were at Parajet. It was February. It was freezing cold and blowing 40 miles an hour, and they're all talking about flying to work. And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds terrible."
You came at a really cold time.
It was miserable,
really cold time. And but yeah.
All right. Why doesn't the Maverick 185 have electric start? So it does, Kevin. You can get electric start on your Maverick, or sorry, your Moster 185. You can't currently get it on the Maverick, but it is coming, I hope.
It is coming.
Do we have an ETA?
Soonish.
So
I think there's a prototype model at the Foot Drag.
So there, that's what I was about to say. There's an event called the Endless Foot Drag in Kansas coming up, and will there be anything there that people should like to see?
Well, spoiler alert. Sorry, Tom. Sorry, guys. But there's going to be prototype electric Maverick.
Electric Start Maverick.
Electric Start Maverick. Not electric Start.
There actually
Maverick.
will be a prototype electric Maverick, but we can't share it with the world yet.
Okay. And there's a few other cool things that Tom and the team are bringing along to see there.
Awesome. I can't wait to see Tom there. It'll be an awesome time. So it's coming. It's not out yet because, and this is actually kind of a point of contention with a lot of people. One of, if not the only reason why there's not a proper electric start dual start Maverick available yet is simply because you guys are too particular.
Okay, I think that's a compliment. Yep.
It is. It's a backhanded compliment, but it's a compliment because I've seen the drawings from February, which were already completed. You guys are already prototyping, already practicing, already developing and building. What you guys have done, if you look around this room at other dual start units, nothing looks like yours. Nothing looks close to yours. Nothing has the fit and finish, the polish, the thought behind the design, the level of intricacy that you've undertaken is almost insane. It's almost foolhardy. Like, why would you spend so much money to make something look so nice when you could do it easily by using some Velcro?
Yeah.
Right?
We're not big fans of Velcro.
You're not big fans of Velcro or zip ties. I know this about you.
Yeah.
And I really respect that. I've often said that the value of your paramotor is strictly based upon the correlation of how many zip ties it takes to build it.
Okay.
Okay. This was impressed upon me by the folks at Nirvana. I was swapping a motor at Wings of Winter 2, which is about 6 years ago, and I had a bin of zip ties, and my motor had blown up, so I was swapping a motor from another frame to my frame, and I was very frustrated. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. They were drinking Slivovica, which is that plum brandy that Pavel loves so much, and I love so much. It's delicious. And they're sitting around me watching me zip tie the 300 zip tie, and they said, "Do you know how many zip ties I have on my motor?" I said, "I don't know." And he goes, "None." It's a good sign. If you don't have zip ties, good engineering.
It's a good sign. Yeah, I mean we're blessed by starting with Gilo with this incredible attention to detail. You talked about the aesthetics.
Oh my, yes.
You want an object you're going to love.
Right.
And if it looks right, it probably is right. And so through Gilo, through Sam, who designed the Maverick.
I love Sam.
With Sam and Kester, through to Dan and Dylan, who've joined our team, just making sure that every single detail is right. And what I'm loving is that we work with everybody in the team. So it's from talking to our partners and getting feedback from them. We talk to our customers. We run a whole bunch of focus groups. Talking to the production guys, because they work with this stuff all the time, and they can see all the things that need tweaking, and they're so proud of what we do and the quality they bake into this into everything. So the electric project, Jack. Hi, Jack.
Hi, Jack.
Jack is one of our brilliant build ninjas, build techs, and he's just really obsessive with getting this right. So it's really cool.
And I mean, literally from seeing the initial design drawings to seeing everything else you guys have done along the way, it's if I could impress one thing upon people, it's to understand that what they're doing is completely outside the box, and that's why it's taken so long. Because it really, I mean, everybody else has had dual start since the dual start came out, because they threw a bracket on a frame and they mounted it with Velcro, and it's done. And that's not to diss anybody else. There's a lot of great ones out there. Like, for instance, the Fly products, what they did, they built a complete mounting system for the battery, and it has been an incredible tool for us. That's why all of our EFI units are on Flies, because they have the brackets in place. We don't have to remount. We don't have to re-drill. We don't have to weld anything. It's all in place, which is really nice. It wouldn't work on a Maverick. Out the box, our EFI wouldn't. It would require some work, a lot of work on our part. So it's been a great test bed for us, but I have to applaud your entire process, because it's really nice. It's really, really nice. Now, that said, there was a question, I believe his name was Adam or Andy. I apologize, I see it really quickly, and then I look back over at him, and then the screen changes. It's from Alan. Alan D. Klotz says, the Motor 185 starts so easily, I'm not sure why it really needs an electric start. And I'm going to have both of us talk on this. First and foremost, tell me about your starter experiences with the Motor 185 Plus. Has it been easy?
It's super easy. It's
Right.
super easy. So I moved from an electric start V3, and I thought I'm really going to miss this. But the engine, if it's second pull, it's a bad day.
Right.
The unit I flew from, your unit this morning, first pull. It just runs.
So there's two things. One, with the EFI, it's first pull every time. Or
Yeah.
second pull is bad. Same thing. Without EFI, which my unit doesn't have EFI, I have a red Maverick. I love it, and sadly, I sold it today. So I'm gonna order another one. I want something funky about it though. Make it different. But I gotta have another red Mav. I love my red Mav.
We'll sort you out. So, did you see, you met Ben, our operations logistics manager?
I did.
Ben has his red Mav called Ruby. She's got a name.
Her name's Ruby, okay.
Again, and every bit of anodizing is red.
Can we anodize the titanium tubes and everything if I go bonkers and spend way too much money?
And it just looks so fantastic.
Can I have Ruby 2?
It's Ruby 2. You need to ask Ben. I don't know whether he's going to give her up that way.
I'll call it Ruby Tuesday.
Yeah,
It'll be
okay,
fine.
Ruby Tuesday. Yeah.
All right. So my experience has been the same. Out of my last 15 paramotors, 2 of them have been pull start. I had a hybrid 130, which was a flash start air conception about 4 years ago. I flew it for about 11 hours, and then I switched to an electric start. I switched to a pull start nitrous. I'm sorry, 3 out of my last have been pull start. I thought I was going to miss the electric start so much. In fact, my early experiences with the Moster, I had really poor experiences with the flash start. I had 2 starters go out in 3 hours on my Scout. It was a really bad experience, and so when we decided to switch and the Mav didn't come with an electric start, I said, well, I'll get one and see how it goes. My new Mav will not be dual start. It won't. I'm so happy. If you prime it correctly, it's easy. If you don't prime it correctly, you over prime it, you hold full power for a split second and it starts.
Correct.
Period.
Yeah.
And I've used it for thermaling. I've used it for everything. I've had incredible success with it. So
well, I think the other thing that's really important is the pull being so high.
Yes.
There's something about that geometry. You can find it. I just know that if I put my hand above my helmet,
There it is.
It's just there. It's always there, and it's not in the center. You're not trying to find, be double jointed trying to find the thing. And there's just something about that motion that makes it a joy. You're not doing this. You're pulling down. It's much easier.
Well, I think that actually it's a really good point because my old Scout was here today. You saw it.
Oh, right.
I sold it to John.
That one. Okay.
Yeah, so I sold that to John 3 years ago. He's flown it 300 hours, and he's got a new Vitarazi Motor Plus to put on it. And I was laughing earlier because I probably still have a scar on my neck because the
cord rubs
cord,
on
yeah, because the cord,
yeah.
you have to pull start like this,
Yeah.
which I didn't know. I was used to other motors, and I pulled started like this, and I heat burned, I rope burned my neck so badly it bled, and it was definitely a poor experience. But I love the geometry in the Scout. I love a lot of things about it. There's a lot of great things out there. So, guys, we're 2 minutes out. I'm going to answer a couple of more quick questions before Tech Talk comes live with Alex Montanez. I'm going to go ahead and go for 1 more minute. Heath Burson says, I love my Parajet. Heath, by the way, is one of our best customers ever.
Okay, brilliant.
One of my favorite people. I'm going to go for about 90 seconds on this. Sorry, John. Heath called me from California. This is 2 years ago, I think, maybe 3. And he called me from California and said, hey, listen, I'm looking for a new wing. I trained at this other school. I had a poor experience. I'm not happy with my equipment. They sold me this giant wing and a small motor. I'm a big dude. He's like 6'6". The guy's giant. Right? He's a massive dude. He spent about 3.5 hours on the phone with me. And I explained what wing I recommended, which at the time was the Ozone Spider. And then at the end of the call, he says, okay, I'm ready to order. And I said, I'm sorry, I can't sell it to you. He's like, what? Because at the time we were limited on where we could sell things, much like it is with Parajet, ironically enough. And so I spent 3.5 hours on the phone with the guy. He wanted to buy, so instead of buying it from the local dealer, he flew to Florida, became a student, went back through all of his class, all of his trainings. Since then, he's bought all of his equipment through us. Amazing guy. He also happens to grow the best olives on the planet. Hand to God, best olives ever. And he wants to know if the Eclipse, he loves his Parajet Maverick, which he just bought. He sold his Tornado, sold his Nitro XL. And now he has a Parajet Maverick. He wants to know if the Eclipse will fit the Foxy trike. The answer is yes, it does fit the Foxy trike. That said, this genius right here and I have spent some time together over the last couple of days, and we're working on a fix for the Foxy with the Mav. So soon, your Mav will fit to the Foxy as well. And that's it, guys. We're going to take a break now for about 40 seconds, and Alex can step in to answer your tech questions for about 10 minutes. We're going to step out. Simon, come back in about 10?
Yeah, sure.
I'm sure we can answer more questions.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Awesome.
Right, great.
I don't have the answer for the first one.
Okay.
Okay.
That question. Let me review them before we go live. We're not live, right?
We are live.
We're live.
We are live. So, what's up, everybody? Eric is going to take a quick break, and we're going to do a segment called Paramotor Tech Talk Live with Alex Montanez. Alex, you guys should know already. He is in charge of all the maintenance and setting up motors. He also does all of the all kinds of experimenting, and he is making me a Frankenstein motor. So let's start by talking about the Tech Talks videos. So you guys should expect very soon, starting I believe next week, we're going to be releasing a new video every week, every Thursday.
Yes, sir.
Called Paramotor Tech Talks, and we're going to cover a different subject every Thursday. It's going to be Alex explaining. It's going to be very hands-on with close-ups, and he's going to give a little tip with each video on how best to torque your bolts and little tips like that. But here on Tech Talk Live, we're just going to answer a couple of questions. Alex is going to take over, read your questions, and I'll jump in if I'm confused by your answer, because I'm learning here as well. So let's take it away, Alex.
Well, let's start with the safety wire controversy. That question was actually first asked by Bob Garber. Bob, I'm out on AMP, and I was very surprised to see no safety wires in the props. I see 6 bolts, some of them are slid at 4 bolts, and there was nothing on it. And in reality, some of them have just over a 1/4 inch, maybe not less, of grab of threads going into your actual hub or pulley to actually secure the prop. So coming from the certified, GA world, I was terrified.
Yeah.
Lucky enough, I have not seen one prop yet fail as a result of not being safety wire.
What is safety wire?
Safety wire is basically they come in different sizes. Okay, the most common one in GA is 32 for props. They use about 40 or 50, depends on the aircraft. They use all the way down to like 22. Sometimes they use copper for certain switches. But basically, safety wire is a device, a mechanical device, where they can actually secure a bolt or a nut. All right, similar to a cotter pin.
Okay.
So they can actually lace it or strain it through it, and keep the actual fastener fastened. So it won't allow to actually move, because it moves in a certain direction where the nut will not, or the bolt will not come loose.
Why don't they have that on hang point bolts?
Yeah, we have something similar.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, it's on my toolbox right now, and it's that little ring that looks like a key ring.
Oh, right.
So in those shackles, they have something similar, which we're going to probably cover that up in the future as well for how to actually install those, because in the beginning I didn't know how to install them, and I actually broke a couple of them. Come to find out that I was not the only one with the same problem. So obviously, maybe I was a little bit too dumb or unfamiliar with the part. But I learned how to do it real fast, real quick, and properly.
Cool.
So we're going to cover things like that. But safety wire, no, it's not required. we don't use any kind of AN hardware, which is the hardware they use in aviation, in most of our paramotors. Therefore, they don't have any cross drill heads. They don't have any chains that are drilled or anything like that create the provisions to actually put safety wire. However, the force spring, and you have seen this, John. I was demonstrating this to you the other day when we kind of practicing about the tech talk. They have safety wire on the spring for the exhaust.
Okay,
so
I do remember that.
And that's something kind of similar. You
Right.
kind of serve the same purpose. So basically, the safety wire is routed a certain way, so if the spring breaks or fail, it's going to maintain the integrity of the part to an extent that it's not going to go through your prop.
Okay.
Yes. So have I safety wire? Yes. We have a customer that have a trike. His prop somehow went through the or his exhaust somehow went to the prop, shattered the prop, shattered the tank, and you probably remember that. So I safety wire a lot of his. You know, he have a bladder tank and a quad, and I went ahead and rebuilt his entire unit. And yes, I did use safety wire, and I safety wired the exhaust. I safety wired certain things. The tether on the airboxes. That's if you properly torque the airbox, despite all the commotion and misreviews out there, if you properly do it per manufacturer spec, which is actually a socket and an actual wrench or a ratchet, and rather than just a screwdriver, chances are that they're not going to slip out right away, and especially if you shake it periodically.
Sure.
But the tether on the box do the same thing as a safety wire device. So
cool.
Do we have a safety wire? No, we use a lot of Loctite. Not necessary, but yeah, I recommend it.
Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
People get some safety wire.
Yeah, you need a little class, let us know, and we'll show you how.
Okay.
So,
What else we got?
Yep. I have a question earlier about tune exhaust. Why don't we use certain tune exhausts on two-cycle engines? They are some aftermarket. Don't think they're covered by the warranty. So if you use it, the warranty might be voided because they're not sponsored by the engine manufacturers.
Right.
However, the ones that I seen before, they're actually very well crafted, very well manufactured, and I think they can use it. So there are some options out there. I don't know all the brands. I don't know all the aftermarket stuff, but we can not directly sell them because if we void the warranty, obviously, then our customers are not going to be very happy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Nino tells us we've got about 3 minutes left.
3 minutes. Let me put my glasses on and see what else we got over there. We got a question about how to pack those wings so small. To be honest with you, I don't know how they pack them. We get them. We try not to open them when they ship them out, but they are really, really, really compact.
Yeah, they're really small.
Yeah. However, during the class, when you go through a class, if you're going to travel, you can let us know, and there is an actual traveling technique that you can use.
The concertina, right?
I'm sorry?
It's called concertina.
I believe it is.
Yeah, the concertina.
And basically you pack your wing, and it's literally very, very small.
Yeah.
Not probably as small as the one you get, but pretty darn close.
Right.
So you can get it very, very, very close.
Yeah,
so
it's a pinch and bind method.
Yes.
I remember.
Yes.
I remember learning. I never actually tried it because I didn't have to. But.
Absolutely. So let me check a couple more questions over here. Does the smoke system saturate the muffler packing in oil, and is there a mechanical risk to do that? The main mechanical risk that I see on the smoke system is cracking on the exhaust. Whenever they actually insert the injector on it, some people sometimes improperly install that. They don't divert anything. Sometimes they put it too tight and they start cracking, having some issues. Some of the manufacturers might not warranty that. Depending, they have exhaust issues.
Yeah.
But as far as saturating the packing, it could happen.
Okay.
Because you're basically injecting oil right into it. But obviously, that's the risk you run to have fun. And
right. Smoke is about the fun.
Yeah.
I actually have a quick smoke story. We're talking about smoke and is it a mechanical issue? There's a pilot here who flies here. He's very experienced, who has a smoke system, and he was going to take off not knowing that he had accidentally toggled a smoke system, and he did his typical takeoff, jumped into the seat, and because the smoke was running, I guess he lost enough power. I didn't realize this was an issue, but he lost enough power that he came down and skidded on his butt. His frame was okay, but his prop exploded, all because the smoke system was on. He didn't realize it. So there's some risks associated with the smoke system, believe it or not.
Everything on those motors are so small. They're very simplistic motors. Two-cycle motors have no valve. They have ports, kind of like your weed or some of the lawnmowers.
Right.
But everything is tuned to, to a certain degree where everything works in harmony, if you would. Same thing with exhaust. You modify the exhaust that can actually, be harmful for the motor, like running the motor with no exhaust or back pressure. And that's probably kind of what happened. You have a pressure difference inside the exhaust at that particular power setting. That's probably, exactly what happened.
Right.
So,
yeah.
And, you loss of power, you lost,
so he learned a valuable lesson that day.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. 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 So.
Okay, what do we got? We got Nina says time's up. We got time for one more? We do one more?
Do you have any questions, John? You always being asking the questions.
I have so many questions, but let's get to JP Julio's question. Would you recommend having gauges on your throttle?
Very good question.
What is he referring to? What
well,
sort of
most people have their fancy gauges or whatnot into the paddle same thing for me carrying GPS in my Paramotor.
Are we talking about an altimeter? Something like that?
Well, not necessarily. I think they were talking EGT, cylinder head temperatures, RPM, fuel pressure, and whatnot, and hours.
Right.
Some of those are actually important. The only thing that I kind of recommend personally is having a tachometer with our hour reading meter, and just to keep track of how many hours do you have. Perhaps in some of the motors they have a maintenance event that are based on hours, and that's good to know.
Sure.
However, do you need to have it in your throttle? Do you need to have it anywhere visible? Not really necessary. I think it creates, especially in the phone calls that I get daily, it creates a lot more controversy and work for sometimes unnecessary. Oh, my temperature is so and so, is a degree off. Right. I'm panicking. Is it gonna explode? No, not really. Don't pay attention to those kind of certain temperatures. If the temperature is 100 degrees off, yeah, probably I will be worry about it. But most of those gauges, what we fly in Paramotor, we fly by senses. We include all of our senses flying. We hopefully have the sense of direction, so we don't need ForeFlights or GPSs to, if you are doing long cross country, yes, why not?
Okay.
Because I do have it on my cell phone, but do I need it? Do I have it? Not necessarily. So, but basically tachometer with RPM and hour meter.
Yeah.
And most of them, when I install them on the frame. I don't install them on the actual throttle. So you can kind of keep track of your maintenance, and when you statically run something, adjust your carburetors and whatnot, then you can have them, properly, adjusted. But other than that, I don't really recommend everything. So
well, thank you for taking 10 minutes to answer some of these tech questions.
Thank you, sir. Hopefully we'll get the show going and people start liking it.
Yeah, so hopefully next week, it's I should be next week, right on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Expect those videos on Thursdays starting next week. Paramotor Tech Talk, and don't forget to send in the topics you'd like to see discussed.
Absolutely.
We're going to do things like full top-end breakdowns.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We're going to do full rebuilds. We'll do all kinds of really nitty-gritty on there. So send in your questions, and we'll get those answered. And so give me 1 second. What I'll do is I'll change the camera battery so we're good and fresh. I think Eric and Simon are going to go on for a little bit longer. So hang tight for 1 minute. I'll change the camera battery. We'll be right back.
All right. Thank you.
All right, guys, we're back with part 2 of our discussion with Simon Walker from Parajet. We're answering questions now, guys. We're not going to go too much longer, but we're very excited to answer any of these questions you guys may have. If you will, please do me a favor and tell us in the live chat right now what your thoughts were on the very first episode of Live Tech Talk with Alex. He loves to talk about his Spanglish, but he is an incredibly gifted mechanic. The guy is truly... I mean, literally, you put anything in front of him, and it could be a sewing machine or a dump truck, and he's going to make it run perfectly. So, superstar mechanic. If you guys enjoyed it, let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear what your thoughts were. There's lots of people leaving comments right now, so we're going to try to keep up. Let's see. So, Ignition Mod, have you done it yourself? Blah, blah, blah. I can't even read all these now. Guys, thank you very much for being a part of the show, for being a part of our community. We're an hour and 15 minutes in already. And I'm just spent the time off we had trying to convince Simon that he needs to get Gilo and Tom onto a podcast here.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then we need a Parajet podcast.
We will do that. So you just need both of these guys on the on this show because
we could call it the PPP, the preliminary Parajet podcast.
Okay. Yeah,
it would be great. I'm a big fan. I'd watch it. It'd be fantastic. Be really fantastic. All right, so Jeff, thank you for watching. Thank you. I'm glad you like to talk. Same to you, Karma. Guys, I got to tell you a story. I think I might have mentioned it last week. I don't recall exactly, but we're going to have Karma down here. Karma is the Reddit commando for all things paramotor related. We're flying him down from New York. Super excited to have him down here. I believe that's the June 3rd or 4th podcast. Super stoked to get to know him. He's a young kid who's been flying, and he literally lives on Reddit and answers everyone's questions without any politicking, without any like, hey, I'm awesome, look at me. He's just a good dude. So I'm really excited to share more with him. A big shout out to Lucian Sims as well. Lucian, got your text. Thank you, my friend. Lucian owes me at least 3 bottles of whiskey and at least a week with his girlfriend down here flying with us because they're incredible people and we miss them. Craig Couch, good to see you as well as always. And Craig Taylor, I wanted to thank you for your order for the lamels. I'm glad that you liked them so much, man. The lamels... the thing is, the paramotors we're selling now don't have much P-factor torque. They're really well offset. It's one of the reasons why I absolutely love the way that the Mav offsets and all of the Parajet products because the offsets are able to be reversed. One of the things we talked about last week and 2 weeks ago on the podcast was that if you're looking for your first paramotor and you're under 220 pounds, buy this one with the Atom, fly it for a year, swap your offset, swap your motor. Now you have more power for your smaller wing, right? But this is a great first-time starter motor. It's up to maybe 100 kg. It's fantastic. So really cool stuff. Really really interesting. But Craig, I'm glad you flew the lamels and you loved them. That's really cool. Matthew McNamara. Goodbye. Back to you in Washington State, my friend. Glad you came in. Acid Eric, my name at Gmail. Good deal. All right, we're gonna go ahead and give away one of these cool buffs and one of these cool hats to somebody in the chat. So if you guys have shared the live stream already, please leave a comment in the chat below and I will go ahead and give away 3 of these to somebody. So 3 sets. Go ahead and leave a comment below saying you shared it and we'll get right to it. James Robinson asks if we are selling Parajet trikes. Yes, we are. You guys have the Falco. Can you describe the Falco?
So we've got the Falco, which is uses the V3 as its as the paramotor. So you can foot launch the V3. It just detaches. Again, built by Ian and Jack, who fabricate these amazing Falco trikes. They're really tough. There's a solo model and a tandem. I just think they're works of art. I love them.
They are.
I think there's going to be one at the foot drag.
Good.
So people can see that. There should be several of them there. Great machines.
We actually don't have a Falco in house, but the one I saw there is the reason why I went the flat black. It was flat black and gold.
It looks really,
my good
really
lord,
funky. Yeah.
Gorgeous units. They're not the cheapest trikes in the market. There's a lot of budget trikes out there, but if you really want something that is really designed to the max, that's gorgeous, that's well built, the Falco is fantastic, and we can't get them for you. We'll end up with one in-house soon. We're just trying to rotate through our summer stock because there's so many people who are learning to fly right now. So Quickly, Cody Esterline, you just won. Please email info@aviatorppg.com, letting us know that you want a hat and a buff, and we'll get that off to you. I'm going to send one to, let's see, Craig Couch as well. Craig, you win. Clipped Wing, I would love to send you one as well, my friend. He says, it's flyable when you get back. That's Ben, I believe. Simon?
That is Ben. Yep. Okay, so Ben is...
So I'm just going to go ahead and give those to you
Ben,
to take home to him.
Am I going to deliver these to you, Ben? Well done, matey.
Lucian, I'd be happy to make sure you get yourself a mug as well. Just text us or email us. Jeff Stang, and I will... He says, I shared it and called 3 people to get them to tune in. I'll buy my stuff, however. I'll put the order in tomorrow. You're not allowed to buy it. You already won as well. I'm going to give one more away. Can we scroll up really quick? Let's see. A little bit down. A little bit down. A little more. A little more. Phil Badurka, you won as well, my friend. You got a hat and a buff on its way to you. Email us, info@aviatorppg.com with your address. We'll take care of you. Alejandro Diaz, we are so excited to have you. 51 days left. You're going to be here in 51 freaking days. I can't wait to have you, my friend. Truly going to be exceptional. Alan Klotz says that he flies the Parajet at Falco here in South Africa for rhino anti-poaching, and it works so well for the application. All right, so you know about the story.
Yeah.
Tell us more about how they do anti-poaching. Do they have machine guns?
I don't know about that. I'm sure they've got some AK or whatever they do. There's a lot of those kind of things over there. But it's a cheap way of covering a lot of miles and a lot of territory. And so as Alan says, that's what the guys use them for.
Wow. So just in case anyone's wondering, if you ever want to have me show up and do cool stuff, like doing anti-poaching for rhinos, I'm in. I'm totally in. Send me a plane ticket and a date. I'm down. Let's do it. That sounds amazing. I want to go film it, and I want to anti-poach too. That sounds like a lot of fun. All right, we had a few more questions in the chat box. We're going to go ahead and see, starting with CT Shoot Flyer. Is he here to announce a Maverick 2 with eStart? Are you announcing a Maverick 2 yet?
I'm not going to announce Maverick 2 yet, but or maybe not ever.
Ever.
Anyway.
No, there's never been Maverick 2. The Maverick is a standalone, I think.
The Maverick is standalone, but what I will say is that for the history of Parajet is we've constantly
always evolving,
and the team are looking at future models, and they've got some amazing ideas and some amazing things that we're going to be doing in the next couple of years. So watch this space.
Watch this space. One thing that I love about the way that Parajet moves is it's not going to be model years. You're not going to have a Maverick 2019 that's outdated by a 2020. It's not going to happen. You're going to have a unit that's upgradable to be able to integrate some of the same refinements that they come out with. You're going to have a team behind you that's going to support you the whole way.
Yeah, sure.
And one of the things too, we were talking about earlier this morning. We obviously train on Mavericks full time. You've never seen a field that was full Maverick before, and people fall down, they bump and scrape. In all the time we've been flying Mavs, which is now since October, I think we put them in the school in November. We have not replaced a single Maverick hoop, a single Maverick spar, a single Maverick frame. That's a ton of students, thousands of flights. That's a testament, man.
Yeah, no, thank you. As I say, I don't spend enough time on the field, and it was the toughest conditions this morning because it was just nil wind,
soaking wet,
and it was soaking wet, and people were slipping, and nothing too drastic, but I did see a few stumbles and falls and butts.
Yeah,
and
butt scrapes.
And everything's fine, So they're pretty robust.
Z-Man Mija says, how about their new titanium frame? Is there something I don't know, Simon?
The new titanium frame. Their new titanium frame.
Do you have a new titanium frame we don't know about?
We've got a lot of titanium in the building.
I don't know anything about it, and I have the NDA signed, so we can't share anything with you except for the fact that I don't know anything about it. So let's see. Matthew Pesci asks a very good question. He says, how often should you get your wing inspected? I think it's changed, honestly. The world used to say once a year. If you look at the PPG Bible, it says once a year have your wing inspected. I think even with heavy use, for instance, my wing is now 18 months old, and with heavy use, flying a lot, because it's not just me that flies it. Ross flies it every morning. Tons of people fly my wing. It launches the same, lands the same. It's in really, really good condition with no issues. My encouragement to you would be that look at your manufacturer and look at their expectations. I think that the fabrics have become much, much more technologically advanced, and I think that they are holding on better. I would still recommend an inspection every 18 to 24 months just for the abundance of caution. And I would like to encourage you as well to reach out. There's a new company in town. Our friends Shannon and Lauren have created a wing shop. They actually bought Elizabeth Dufour's wing shop from Eric Dufour and Elizabeth, and they're working with them to create the best possible inspections. And Elizabeth used to have a 6-month delay. I think her longest was 6 months delay on inspecting wings. She does an exceptional job, and she's taught Shannon how to do the same job. They're 30 miles south of us at Four Winds Glider Shop. I get nothing out of this, guys. I make no money. I do nothing. This does nothing to benefit Aviator, but I will tell you that they're wonderful people with a great heart and a great passion for the sport, and I know that they have time to see their wings. We actually sent, I think, 4 wings down for lines and inspections in the last few weeks. They've done an exceptional job. So Four Winds Glider Shop, you can find out more information on Google most likely, or look for fourwindsppg.com. Their website's a little rudimentary, but they do a fantastic job of inspections and line replacements. So check them out. Huge shout out to Lauren and Shannon. I can't be more thankful for them. Woody's Gamer Tags in the house. What's up, Woody? He says, no one has broken one yet. Challenge accepted. Bring it to Bad Apples. I'm not going to bring one to Bad Apples, but I am sending a Fly Products Eclipse Atom 80 up that I'd love to have you fly. I will warn you, it feels like you're putting on lingerie, which I recognize you're used to, Woody. I will also let you know that there will be no Aviator stickers applied to your beautiful pickup truck, because I'm not sending any Aviator stickers. There might be some special stickers, though, that you're going to have. Great to have you here, my friend. And please, if you want to get in a fight this year, make sure it's filmed. All right. Woody said, Bob Garber said, Woody, even the videos you think are boring when you release, we all watch and wait for, just saying. William says, when are good times to drive by and see some paramotors in the sky? I live in Orlando and my training is in November. Willie, great to have you in November. The best times to come are when the winds are below 10 miles per hour and it's sunrise or sunset. Please feel free to email or call us, 833-PARAFLY, or just email us. Let us know when you're coming. We're always here, but just like you'll appreciate when you're in training, it's very much focused on the people who are here to be served. So you may show up to the shop, the red shop barn door, and you'll see the big sign there that says, "Stop! Do not enter class in session. This means you." Yes, you. Because we have a lot of walk-ins at times that try to disrupt the class because they want to ask questions. They want to have questions answered, and we have times available for that. One of the times we're going to have available for that, this is the first time announcing it ever, we're going to have something called Aviator Days. It's going to be in December. I believe it starts December 7th. It's a week long, and the plan is this. If you are a paramotor pilot, whether you're one of our students or not, if you're a paramotor pilot and you're intrigued, you're excited about learning to fly new equipment, learning to go through our intermediate courses, learning about the stuff that we have available, enjoying testing out new gliders, new motors. You want to fly the Atom on the Mav. You want to fly the Atom on the Eclipse. You want to fly a Vertigo Trike. You want to fly a Moster Mav. Whatever it is that you want to fly, our goal is to be able to give you the opportunity to do that. And not just that, but we're going to give you a VIP experience. So what I mean by that is that we want you to fly into the airport. We'll help you book your hotel. We will arrange for transportation for you from the airport if we can. We have John has promised his Tesla. I'll fly up if I can get you. We want to bring in, we're going to have it set up so it'll just be a couple people per day for a week. So if you're in the market for new equipment and you really want to test everything on the market, right now, the last time I looked, we had 37 wings open for demo in our wing trailer, okay? That's a ton of gliders. That's a ton of gliders that you get your hands on and really get a feel for what you want to fly. You could fly 5 or 6 different motors in a day. You could fly 5 or 6 different wings in a day. We'd love to have you come down for a day in December. December 7th through 15th.
And they can try me out as well.
And John says you can try him out as well. So if you're interested, feel free to send us an email, info@aviatorppg.com, or John, John, aviatorppg.com. Subject line Aviator Days. Let us know what day you want to come down. We want to support the community and give you guys an opportunity to have a unique experience because we're going to have our trike training class the same week, so you get to see how a training system goes through. You can watch from the back of the room, see how the ground school looks, what it feels like to be an Aviator student, and be able to try the latest and greatest gear of all sorts.
Current pilots only. Trained.
This is important. This is for current pilots only. Now, I'm sure you guys understand why. I'm not going to put parameters like you have to have 300 hours of flight time, but I am going to say you're not going to come here with 30 hours and try a free ride. you're going to come and be able to fly equipment that we believe that you're safe on. You need to be experienced. Now, you don't have to be greatly experienced. You could have 50 flights and want to come and try a Mojo or a Roadster 3. But if you want to get the most out of this, guys, you have 7 months, 8 months, now 7. Try to fly as much as you can in the next 7 months so you can be prepared to try as many things as possible. We really want to serve people, get people excited, but it's very important to us that you guys are safe when you're here. So we're excited to have folks down. There's no cost for this, no charge for this. We just want to serve the community. We're going to film a whole bunch of pilot spotlights. We want to hear your stories, what kind of pilots you are, what kind of experiences you've had. We're like flying through Botswana. That's incredible, right? Like, you might be on a podcast. Who knows? We're excited to have you as a part of this. So please let us know what your schedule is. And again, contact us about Aviator Days in December. Good evening from the UK, Mark Nurse says.
Hi, Mark.
Great to fly with you and Simon and Tom the other week. You, Simon, Tom, and the other week. Guys, thanks for the loan for your R2, mate. Eric, and I honestly say from first-hand experience that Parajet rocks.
There we go.
Are you welling up?
Thank you, Mark.
Mark, I believe it, man. I have been there. I have seen their hospitality. I have not flown there yet, and I am anxious to do so. It's such an incredible experience. It truly is. Just getting to fly with new people all around the world, and I haven't flown in the UK yet, so that's going to have to happen.
Have you not? Okay.
I haven't.
Okay. Right. We solved that.
I've jumped really high.
Okay.
That's not true. I'm white. I can't jump very high. Philip Berdurka asks about events and where you can find a listing of events. The best location I found for a listing of events is usppa.org. Click on events and calendar on the top of the page. You can find a lot more information there. This event's not listed there because this event is not going to be a public event. This is an event just for people by invitation only. So contact us if you'd like to have an invitation. Woody asks, have you guys figured out the price of the EFI system yet? Will it be sold or just demoed at the EFD? We have figured out pricing. We'll announce it at Endless Foot Drag. It is going to be less expensive than we thought, more expensive than we wanted, but it will be available for sale at Endless Foot Drag, we believe, although there will be a slight lead time because I think we've already sold out of the majority of our pre-release units. Partly because we're supporting a new group of guys who are doing some incredible adventuring, and we really want to make sure they have fuel injection to have the best economy and to have the best reliability. All right, let's see here. Bob Garber, Aviator Show, quick question. Do you only do PPG certifications, or can you do paragliding certificates as well? I want to do free flight, and it would be nice. Right now, I'm not a USHPA certified instructor, nor is anyone on our staff. To do free flight certification. I would love to be. It's actually one of the things on my bucket list for this next year is to go out and spend a few weeks training with someone like Chad Bastian to really dial in my free flight teaching techniques. I love to free fly. I think it's pure magic, but I want to make sure that we do it properly. So we currently don't offer free flight certification, although we do offer free flight training at the Paracosta location. And I believe that Gigi, who's the owner down there, I think he has his USHPA stuff done through Bill. I'm not sure if it's done or not yet. But yeah, stay tuned. It's something that we would like to do in the future, for sure. What is the latest about the larger tank for the Maverick, Simon?
Very soon.
I have heard this for 5 months.
Very, very soon.
How soon?
There's going to be a few at the Endless Foot Drag.
How many's a few?
Just a few. Just a few. But I actually haven't physically seen it yet. But I've seen pictures. I know it's there, and the guys have got it, and they're testing it. But yeah, very soon. Very soon.
Okay, so will the larger fuel tank be something people can add?
It absolutely. You can see on because you can't see this one because the engine's in the way. But it's a very simple swap, and we're going to be selling it as kits. So everything that people need, they can just swap it over, or I'm sure your guys can help them. They bring it here, and we can do that.
Any authorized dealer,
yeah, absolutely.
That's one of the things we want to talk about with the EFI as well. Is currently our hope is that we work with Vitarazi and it becomes a factory option. If not, one of the things that we will be doing is we're going to be certifying schools. We'll start with the Alliance members to install, as well as Parajet has expressed some interest. I'm sure Fly Products will as well, to be authorized installers, because we don't want to send these kits to you guys, Joe Blow, down the road and have you try to install it and have frustrations. We want to do it for you, do it properly. So they will be sold by authorized installers, etc. down the road. So have that expectation for the EFI. But it's great to know that the larger fuel tank, that's almost double the size of this one, can be installed by you, the end user. That's fantastic. Let's see.
There's a good question there from Ben. So he's asking how many people take part in paracamping trips in the States.
Not very many.
Why is that?
So I think it's two-parted. One, most of us in the States really like the Holiday Inn Express.
Right.
Um,
You like your comfort.
We like our comfort,
Yeah.
and part of it I think is because there's not that many people who have showcased how accessible it is.
Okay.
One of the things, I'm going to have a guest on here in June who is when he was 15 years old, he started a company called Rock and Roll Bags. Now, rock and roll bags are ready bags. They're bags you throw in the back of your car to be able to, if the apocalypse comes or you crash your car into a culvert, you can survive, right? At 15 years old, he started this company. His father's a mentor of mine, and he has this deep passion for setting people up. So he actually built one for paramotoring that clips around your waist, and it gives you all the stuff you need to survive for a night or two in the wild, right? So I want to utilize that incredible rock and roll Aviator Edition bag to be able to go and use that for camping.
Because you don't need much.
You don't need much.
Yeah, you don't need much.
And I think a lot of the reason why we haven't done it here is because people think they need more than we have, right? You need a tent, you need a sleeping bag, you need water for a month. What do you really need?
Just that, so we don't even use a tent. I use a tarp, a little ultralight thin tarp that goes over uses the Paramotor frame as your tent frame.
Oh, that's cool.
Tiny little sleeping bag, little blow up mat, tiny little stove, your phone which has got the lat long of the gas station.
Right.
Your gas station and pub is what you look for.
Gas station and pub.
And so often, 3 or 4 times a year we fly out from work, and we fly for a couple of hours to the coast, land on the top of the cliffs, mess around on the cliffs, get some more fuel, go to the pub, get something to eat, fly back in the morning. It's fantastic.
So I feel like the next time you come, you need to send us a shopping list for Amazon. We'll buy the things.
Okay, let's do that.
A buddy of mine has an incredible ranch just about 60 miles north of here.
Perfect.
Let's go fly there and do a camping trip.
Let's do that. I'll do
Okay.
that with you.
All right,
Any
I'm
day-
in. I've
any
never
day
done
of
it.
the
I'm
week.
in. I'm in.
Okay, right. Okay. You
All right.
heard it here.
All right. In addition to
committed.
that, I believe firmly that you should fly all the things. All right, whether you're flying drones, airplanes, helicopters, gyrocopters, float planes, paramotor, you should fly everything. So, June 10th to 15th, I teased last podcast that I might go out west and fly. Instead, I'm going to take my airplane, my buddy Chris, who's our school manager, and we're going to go fly somewhere to go fly somewhere. That's the plan. So we're going to take the airplane with the paramotors in the back, and we're going to go explore. So same idea. We're going to fly. There's this little deserted island off the coast of Florida, just south of Tallahassee, about a 5-hour drive from here, that my grandparents bought a house on in the 60s for like next to nothing. And there's only one runway and a marina. You can get there by boat or by plane. It's 3 miles off the coast. And we're going to go fly there in the airplane and then fly paramotors around it, which will be awesome. And then we're going to try to find our way throughout the Southeast for 5 days and just explore and film it and share the adventure with you guys. I want to go to Kitty Hawk. I've said for years that the ultimate idea is to go to Kitty Hawk and you fly in, you're like, cool, I flew into where Orville and Wilbur flew. That's exciting. But to pull your paramotor out of the back seat
Super cool.
and then go fly the dunes,
Super cool.
you are Wilbur Wright.
Yeah.
You are Orville Wright. Like I can't wait. So that's on the list. We're gonna go there. Darvin TV. Darvin is an old friend. I've known Darvin for like almost 10 years through the video game community, and now he's flying paramotors, which is super exciting. He says that he's 8 flights in so far and still very nervous and scared in the air. It's holding me back and making me question if I should really be doing this. What advice do you have for students in this situation? I'll tell you this, my friend. I know how long you've been flying. Here's my advice. The next time you go out to fly, you do 8 flights in one day. The next time you go out to fly, you do 8 flights in one day. You don't put so much time between them. You've been training for almost a year. It's imperative. You've got to get over the hump. And the only way to get over the hump is practice, right, Simon?
Absolutely. I could the best possible advice. 8. You can be 5-minute flights. 8
Yeah.
5-minute flights.
Give yourself confidence. Well, and that's one of the things we try to do here. Like my favorite way of seeing students fly is take off, turn right, crosswind, turn right, downwind, land. 46 seconds elapsed. If it's over 45 seconds, it's too long. I want you up, down, around, up, down, around, up, down, around. Get that body position down to the point where it's so natural that you aren't intimidated by it, where it's just a completely normal thing. And that's one of the reasons why we don't do part-time training here. You are coming for 8 to 15 days. You're going to be dialed in. You're going to know what you're doing. You're going to go home with confidence. And we're going to connect you with local pilots who can help you along the way. That's a big, big deal. Woody says, but Eric, if you don't get it, if you get off the ground, you've dodged a bullet. Why risk another launch? Because you have to get better, Woody. Remember, like, what was it, 2-3 years ago you came here and it was, you had that mentality, if I got off the ground, yay. But then you were doing 30 launches in a week. You're crushing it, man. You know this. I know you're being silly, but it's so crucial. It helps us all really build that passion for flight. It helps us build the confidence to do it over and over again. I tell everybody that, you know, my normal flight's about 12 minutes and 40 launches because I'll land, take off, land, take off, land. It doesn't matter. Like it's fun for me. It's a great joy. All right, let's see. Any other questions? JP Tulo, is there any such thing as a training prop that isn't as expensive to break while learning? Can you recommend a cheap prop that doesn't void the warranty for a Maverick Sport with a Moster Plus? I'm going to answer the first part, and I'm going to let you answer the second part. Is that a deal?
The second part, I can't recommend a cheap prop that doesn't avoid a Maverick.
All right, so I guess we're answering it together. We're answering it together then, because the reality is this. If you're concerned about breaking propellers in training, if you're concerned about breaking propellers as a beginner, the reality is you need better training. In our last 3 classes, we've had 1 broken prop. We've had over 500 flights. Okay? Over 500 flights, 1 broken propeller. And the reality is, if you have that many flights and you're trained properly, it's done in a way that's segmented and well designed. Actually, that's the last 4 classes. 4 classes, 1 broken prop, which means probably 600 plus flights, 700 flights. It's really imperative, guys, that you find and spend your money on trainers instead of propellers. A few of the members of the Paradigm team are the Martin brothers, and we talked about this on the podcast we had at Son of Fun. It's kind of hilarious, but it's the truth. They were going to come to me for training. This is 6 years ago, and they opted not to. And within 6 months, they built themselves a prop tool that built their own propellers because they'd broken so many. There's a picture of a group of them. There's 5 brothers, or 4 brothers and their father that were flying at the time at a fly-in, and they're all holding up the props they'd broken over the weekend. Right? The reality is poor training.
Yeah. There's no need.
There's no need. So if you take the time to invest in your training, to invest in great people who will support you, that's not even a consideration. Knock on wood, I've never broken a prop.
I did once.
In Botswana?
How did you know? It was actually South Africa, but anyway. But it was in my duct taped, cable tied machine. I can't say
I have broken probably a dozen props. But I've never broken a prop due to pilot error, except for not clipping the speed bar links in and having to go through the prop.
Oh, that's bad.
Twice.
So I have a spare pair of clips on the end of my swing arms, and I clip my speed bar into those.
Smart.
So that they're always attached.
Very smart. That's something that
should be on the glider, but that's where they're there otherwise.
Just in case.
Yeah.
So I've done that twice, and I've had a whole bunch of motor parts and previous brands go through the props, so that's an issue. Patrick Eyeball says, any chance of Parajet or Paradigm being at, scroll up, I lost it, doing a tent and show for the Cobb Air Spectacular in Ireland in 2020?
You didn't say Cove, because there's... So
Cobb?
Cove.
Cove?
Yeah.
I said Cove.
Yeah, Cove.
Cove.
Yeah.
Cove. Covfefe.
BH is V in Irish.
BH is V in Irish. And my family's Irish and Danish. I should know this. So tell me, for you, Simon, are you guys doing anything at the Cove?
We're not.
Air Spectacular?
But Patrick seems incredibly keen, and so I think you should get in touch with me when... and we'll talk about Ireland, because there's clearly stuff we should be doing there.
I agree. And we would love to come to Ireland. In fact, give me the date. Send me an email, eric@aviatorppg.com. I would almost cry to go and fly in Ireland. So please, let's make that happen.
Seriously beautiful.
No, not just seriously beautiful, painfully beautiful. New Zealand, heaven, Lord of the Rings, epicness. I'm in. Woody says, one thing I tell new pilots is that a no-win launch can be considered an advanced condition to work up to. If you're still leaning forward and hoping the throttle saves you, wait for a helpful wind. Can't agree with you more, Woody. I'll let Simon speak to this too, but we have a sliding scale. Every student's ranked at the end of every day by every instructor. We always are working toward making sure the students are doing the best things they can for themselves. Sometimes students feel left behind. If we have no win for 5 straight days, and Joe Blow, who's 270 and 5'8", hasn't worked out in 16 years, has flown once, and Caleb Johnson, who's 24, weighs 160 pounds, Greek god sing when he takes his shirt off, has flown 104 times. Joe Blow might have his feelings hurt. But Caleb's physical aptitude and mental aptitude is so much higher for that low wind characteristic that we have to be able to keep the pilots safe and keep them from spending money on parts, right? What has your experience been like in no wind? As a pilot who's been flying 4 years in all kinds of conditions, what do you think of when you go out? I freak out. I'm always like, this is going to suck.
It's the hardest thing you can do.
100%.
It is the hardest thing you can do. And again, I was talking to some of your students today. Unfortunately, it's one of those things where the rich get richer, where if you know all the tricks in the book,
right,
you have to use all the tricks in the book. So, this morning it was no wind. You lay your wing out on the concrete so
right,
it doesn't get wet.
Right.
You're incredibly particular.
You didn't lay my wing on the concrete, did you?
I very gently. Very gently, but it didn't get wet. Okay. You lay your glider out incredibly carefully. Every little twig is removed from the line. We want nothing wrong with it, and you get off the ground. But then if you don't get off the ground, it goes on the grass and it's wet, and everything gets harder and harder and harder. So it is the hardest. It has the hardest thing we do. As Woody says, you work up to it.
Absolutely.
I think so. And but if you can do that, you can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
You can do anything.
And I'll say, with thousands and thousands of flights in my belt, I mean, I fly so many flights with every 20 minutes because I love to launch, I love to land. I am still intimidated of a no-wind launch. I lay out on the grass next to the asphalt so I can run on the asphalt so it's not so wet. But I wear clogs, like these rubber clogs when I fly because it's so wet because we're training the water, or in the wet grass. And I'm always afraid with my Freeride 16. I'm like, I'm going to run out of my shoes. Yeah, and it has happened. I have run out of my shoes before because you're running really fast. Big shout out to Kelby Cox, who's here from Resurgence PPG. Can't wait to have you. I'm not sure which school you're going to, but I'm excited for you, my friend. I will not be at Bad Apples, but some of our crew will be there. Can't wait to hear more about it. It's one of my favorite fly-ins in the world. It's absolutely stunning. The entire crew there. Mac Hodges is just a gentleman and a scholar. Great people. There's a few more questions to ask. There's one that came up from David Hullinger. Simon, what is the current wait time for a Maverick?
I don't know the exact amount of time, but not very long. We're building record numbers, and you guys have your own stock.
Yeah, we keep a rolling stock.
We can get that organised to drop ship pretty quickly.
So there's one left on the shelf behind you, and then we have a whole big parcel of them in the UK at your factory that we keep there, so that, say, right now, David, you want to buy a Maverick, and let's say you live in Nantucket. They'll be there in 2 to 3 days. That's a good thing. We bought that stock ahead of time to make sure that we have it. Now, it may not be 2 or 3 days if we're delayed, if we've already sold out of our stock, but it's a rolling stock. So every time we sell one, we order another. Nina's laughing at me saying it might be 2 weeks, but that's just because we've had a good month. So we're trying to get more and more of our pilots flying units that we love. So a lot of our past students who have come through training and they bought a previous brand from us, they're upgrading to something that they've actually found they like better, like I did. So that's a very good thing. James Dunn asked a question. He says, are there published weight limits on any harnesses in the Fly products or Parajet products? I see some harness manufacturers have limits where about 200 pounds. I think the limit is 310. Do you know anything about that, Simon?
I don't, but it's a great question. What I do know is all the harnesses go for incredible certification process where they seriously overload and shock load the harnesses. We should find that out and let people know that.
So every harness is every reputable harness is certified. So they'll go through a certification progress with it, whether it be through EN or DHV, where they shock load up to 15 Gs.
Yeah, I think
to see how much the webbing can handle. Fly Products, for instance, has a weight per harness size list. So they have the expectation of if you're X number of meters tall, you're X number of kilos heavy. This is the harness that's right for you, and they've been tested to that level. Same thing with Parajet. I know you guys are testing to the utmost. You use a Dudek comfort seat harness, correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
So it's exceptionally well tested. It's a fantastic harness system.
Yeah. It won't be a weight limit to do with loading. It'll be due to comfort.
Comfort size.
It's dimensions of your body, so that you've got the right size, so that you've got a longer body. You want a larger size harness.
What we've seen, and this is true for any harness manufacturer that's reputable, is that if they're using high quality webbing, if you weighed 400 pounds and you tried your hardest to break it, you can't.
It's unbelievably strong.
Webbing is incredible stuff, guys. It really is. And that's not, mind you, this is not a blanket statement. Maybe you could break it. Your attorney can't contact me. But if it's done properly and it's rigged properly, they are incredibly well designed and they're well over tested. Gary says, what is a good way to get the feel of a paramotor to practice running with 50, 60, or 70 pounds? So I'm going to address this quickly because we're actually working on this. We have the new Aviator certified weight training and physical fitness aptitude program coming soon. We brought in a certified trainer who happens to be my best friend and my chiropractor, who is going to help us develop exercises for you guys. We hope to film it this next week. We hope to film it this week. Didn't happen. And my encouragement to you is to start with 20. Start with 20 pounds. Overloading your body too early, particularly if you're not physically active, is going to put you in a really bad position. So start slow, build to it. Don't get in a rush. Big area. You don't want to be in a position where you are pushing yourself too much. Start with 20 pounds, spend 2 weeks with that, then go to 30, then go to 40. Make it so it's natural. Putting it in a backpack's a good thing. Go ahead, Simon.
But I think the other really important thing is that great training, it isn't a brute force sport.
Right.
It's actually about technique.
100%.
And what great training does is it gives you the shortcuts to getting that technique quickly.
Right.
So you're not having to run a quarter of a mile with 15 pounds on your back. So
right.
Yeah,
which is huge. Technique. It's huge.
Getting technique early.
Technique is huge, and being willing to be gentle is such a priority because so many people aren't. They tried to brute force.
They try to brute force, and it's something about poise.
Right.
Poise and timing, and actually there's more time. So we talk about nil wind. Actually, you think you've got to charging off like Kylie Coyote or whatever the character is. You don't need to be, but it's about getting it smooth and the technique and just accelerating at the right time. And a great instructor will just say, the reason you fail, I'm seeing it on the field today, guys were getting frustrated, and I said, the reason you failed is this happened.
Right.
So let's try again, let's set you up again, but just when that happened, just hold your arms out a little bit harder and bring it up. All the little
don't work
details.
so hard, don't pull your arms forward,
exactly.
relax, don't Superman. I really believe that the core to having a really successful experience in this sport is great training first, not being in a rush. It's a huge deal. Chris G says that one of the hardest things he's found in the sport is it's difficult to find mentors early on. Chris, I don't know where you live. My encouragement to you is always the same. If you can come to one of our schools, not only do you have great mentorship in school and in your training, not only do you build a great family of fellow aviators, and Simon's seen this week with dinner last night. It's a group of strangers who never knew each other a week ago who suddenly are family, and it's a huge deal. So, don't buy your gear before training.
Absolutely not.
Don't jump into things. Put yourself in a position where you can find really wonderful people first. When you leave training at Aviator, for instance, we have a guy, Rob, who's in training this week. We've already connected him with previous students in his same neck of the woods. So, he only has, I think, 9 flights right now. He doesn't leave for a couple days, so hopefully he'll get at least 15 to 25 flights. But he's going to go home and have fellow aviators who have gone through the same training, who know the same feelings, who have the same emotions, and they're going to go home and fly together. And that's infinitely powerful. It really is. And we have students all over the place. Woody asks, is Ozone going to drop a Viper 5 this year? No, they're not. That's not even on the books right now. They feel as if between the safety and speed, there's no real reason to push beyond the Viper 4 and the free ride at this point in time until there's new breakthroughs. At least that's my understanding. I did ask about it recently because I am due for a new wing. Let's see here. What training harness we recommend for a 5'11.5", around 220 pounds? Honestly, Bob, I would recommend our Aviator kiting harness. It's on our website. It's $220. Thank you, Nina. It's light. It doesn't allow you to sweat as much because there's not as much coverage. I don't like that it's not flight certified. It would never be flight certified. It does not have the right buckles, but the webbing is strong. Do not buy this to fly with. I prefer a kiting harness like that. It was an Oxygen 1. Oxygen 1 is a flight certified harness that's going to keep you safe if you get picked up, right? But for training at your height and weight, this might be a bit more comfortable. Either one's a great option. This is affordable and it's comfortable. Your choice. All right, let's see here. Performance difference between wood and carbon props. Honestly, I'm not one that can answer that for you as well. Next week we'll have Matteo Arazzi on this live stream. Hopefully, Matteo could talk more about that. My experience has been that wood props are much slower to spool up.
Absolutely.
They can damage equipment when they break. They can damage your glider. I had one blow apart and go through my wing, my brand new wing. I was very, very sad. My Dodecahedron 20 had these giant holes all through it. The exhaust fell off my motor. It was a terrible experience. I prefer carbon hands down. Do we have any schools close to Vegas? No, the closest we have is Lone Star Paramotor.
June 15th spot.
And there is a class slot at Lone Star in Texas on June 15th. In addition to that, we have class slots, I believe, June 1st and June 15th in Michigan at Fly My PPG. So if you guys want to learn to fly this summer, there are some opportunities. Tony, the location in Lone Star is in Austin, Texas, just south. It's between Austin and San Antonio. All right. Eric Connor, thank you for being here. Is there any more questions in our saved questions? We're at 2 hours. Kane Theriot asks, can I enter to Aviator PPG and learn this payment? My friend, send us an email. We have had interns in the past. If you have the skills that we need and you're a right culture fit for our team, we'd love to have you as an intern. I'm certain that Simon would probably love to have you as an intern at Parajet as well. If you're the right person for the team, feel free to reach out to us and we'll be happy to serve you. Simon, as we're getting close to the end, any last words you want to send people off with aside from bye Parajet, bye Parajet, bye Parajet?
Bye Parajet, obviously. Take up all the offers that you've made in terms of getting involved. It's been really fantastic to see the questions and the engagement that the community's got, and I think the team here have done a great job in doing that. I want to do this again. This is fun.
Heck yeah, you have to.
We'll have to do this again. We're going to do the paracamping.
Oh, I'm so excited. I've been wanting to do this for years.
Yeah. So no excuse to be comfortable.
True.
be uncomfortable on the field somewhere. But it's been a great experience.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming all the way from the UK for 2 days here. That's a big
Back
ask.
tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been an honor to have you here in the US and an honor to have you on the show. We can't say enough great things about what your company's doing and the areas that you're helping to lead it, because not only is your engineering amazing, but your care for the community is huge, and it's obvious because each of you are pilots. And each of you are not just pilots, you're aviators. You're people who understand the sky, you understand the value. So thank you very much.
I'm the rookie here. We've got a team who've been doing this for years, and they're brilliant, and I'm incredibly proud of them all.
Well, it's a joy to be here with you. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions you'd like to ask the show next week, feel free to email us, info@aviatorppg.com. Additionally, Aviator Days in December 7th through 15th, where you can have an opportunity to have a VIP experience here at Aviator for zero cost. Come try everything we have and just come hang out with us. We'd love to have you. If you'd like to see your bourbon featured here, feel free to send us some. And again, guys, always do what you can to support Resurgence PPG. A huge thanks to all the community who comes out and supports us every week. We can't wait for next week. Hopefully we'll have the team from Viterazzi here. And guys, we'll see you at Bad Apples this weekend, Endless Foot Drag next weekend. And that's it. Have a great night. See you soon.
Good night.